Hi, I am Dr. Amitav Banerjee. I am an epidemiologist with 30 years field experience. Today, we will be talking about herd immunity and the ways in which herd immunity is acquired in a population. Herd immunity, particularly to viral infections, are acquired when the large number of people are exposed to the virus or to the vaccine, which is made from an inactivated virus. So there are two methods in which herd immunity is acquired. One is by natural infection, that's by the virus, and other is by making a vaccine by a modified virus or a part of a virus. Like in the COVID-19, one way of getting is either you have got the coronavirus and recovered from it, and you develop certain antibodies and your T cells and memory cells. There are two ways in which the immunity works. One is indicator is that you have got some antibodies, which are immunoglobulins, proteins in the blood, which can be detected. And the IgG is a marker of past infection. And the other is that your cells in your immune system, that is the bone marrow and lymph node, they have got specialized cells known as memory cells and T cells, which has a long-term, which gives you the long-term immunity to a virus you have been exposed. There have been studies in Singapore and in Sweden where they found that people who have recovered, who had past infection with SARS coronavirus 1 in China and some parts of other parts of the world, they had T cell immunity, cellular immunity against the novel coronavirus 2, that is the present COVID-19, without being exposed to the present coronavirus, because these are from the similar family, the past SARS coronavirus. After 17 years also, there was some cross immunity, some protection. And the other way is the vaccine-induced immunity. Vaccine-induced immunity is like either they take the spike, they are programmed, the vaccine is programmed in a way that once injected, the body generates the spike protein. This is a part of the virus. And the antibodies and memory are elicited against that part of the virus. So these are the two ways in which immunity of a person against viral future subsequent viral infections can be established. One is the natural immunity. Both are natural in a way, because even after the vaccine is injected, it is the body which produces the antibodies. It is not antibodies, is not introduced from outside. Only the stimulus is introduced from outside. One is from the vaccine, which the stimulus is made in the vaccine, whereas in the naturally acquired, natural infection, the person gets infected with the virus. So they have done studies, they have found that those who have had the natural infection and recovered, they have got 13 to 26 times stronger immunity compared to those who get immunity from vaccine. And this is reasonable, and this is logical also, because when a person gets infected with the virus and the virus is in the body for almost 2 weeks, and the body is exposed to full component of the virus, and even if there are mutations, subsequent mutations, the mutation is not more than 2% of the whole virus. So 98% of the virus remains the same. So therefore, even if the mutation, the body will, who had recovered from natural, person who has recovered from natural infection, he or she will mount a good response, immune response. And even if the antibody levels are not there, the T cells and memory cells can produce antibodies at short notice on subsequent exposure to the same virus or similar virus. Whereas a person who has got vaccine is just injected one day, and second dose may be given after a few months. Some booster may be given after a few months, and only the part of the virus or a killed virus. So naturally, the immunity will not be so robust as a person who has had a natural infection where the body is seen the whole virus for 15 days. Whereas in a vaccine-induced immunity, the body is exposed to only the spike protein component, or mimic or a manufactured spike protein that is only part of the virus, or it's a killed virus, which is not the original virus. So it is something like we have a college reunion after many years, 20 years, 30 years. We have not seen those persons for 20 years, but we have been with that person for 4-5 years in college. So even if the person mutates, one can say after 20 years, he is spike protein or he becomes bald, we still recognize him because we have been with the person for 5 years. So similar way, a person who has recovered from natural infection has seen the whole virus for 15 days compared to a vaccinated person who has seen only the part of the, like in college, if you have only seen the head of a person, not the full body, you may forget after 3 years, you will not recognize, or 5 years. So therefore, countries, and the current data is also indicating that countries which have less natural infections to start with, there, in spite of high vaccination rates, you see the present data from Australia, present data from Taiwan, they have been able to prevent the community transmission, and perhaps depending on the vaccine, they are having very high rates of incidence of infections even after high vaccination coverage. Whereas countries like India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, which had very high natural infections because of their crowded living conditions, there the rates have stabilized. And if you see, even with, we may think that yes, vaccination may have contributed, but by and large, the stable immunity is due to the naturally acquired infection with large proportion of the population had already acquired. So I think it is, even common sense will tell us that naturally acquired immunity because of, and in fact, it is very important, particularly for children. We see last year in many parts of the country like Delhi, even before the vaccination for under 18 were authorized or rolled out, more than 80% of our young people already had antibodies. That time vaccination was not started for them. So that is an indicator that even before vaccination, more than 80%, they had antibodies. That means antibody levels come down after some time. Almost more than 80% of our population, young population, would have been exposed to the natural virus and recovered, most of them asymptomatic. So we have to keep that these things in mind. And we don't have fear. If there may be certain second infection and all that, it won't be very severe. I think that's all. Thank you.